Young David was riddled with anxiety. He couldn't walk in a straight line or even stand for too long without losing his balance. His hands were always glazed with sweat, and his armpits would be soaked, even through his hoodie. Young David had never learned what journaling could do for him. I just turned 16 when a friend told me about journaling, but he couldn't explain it well, so I kind of just brushed it off. I wish that I had paid much more attention and had that curiosity build up, so that way I could look into this and experience the benefits quicker, find them out quicker than I did. And that's what this video is to you. What do you think of when you hear journaling or meditation or mindfulness? If you're anything like me, you likely thought of some spiritual woo-woo garbage, right? You think that, you think of your crazy aunt, or maybe that weird guy on your favorite TV show. And it may sound silly, but this was alone the reason that I'd put off learning about journaling for so long. The bias I had was keeping me very close-minded, and it was limiting my potential, quite frankly. But at the time, my friend had also introduced me to a creator on YouTube by the name of Hamza. When I did finally start watching him, I saw a reoccurring theme in his videos, and it was like, hey guys, when I was journaling, this came up, or I came up with this, or I came up with this thought. Hey bro, I was having a bad day until I journaled about some things I was grateful for, and then I ended up writing this script, or, so on and so forth. Then he realized that he released some more videos about how to journal and what is mindfulness, how to meditate, questions to journal, and etc. Sorry about that, boys. I had to go save a turtle for my dog. But yeah. So I inevitably found myself sitting in front of a 20-minute video talking about this woo-woo garbage that I had previously described. Right, and the way I would explain journaling and mindfulness, the enthusiasm, or the way he would describe it, with the enthusiasm and, that he put along in his words and the personal experiences that he shared, I couldn't help but feel excited to try it. And so I did. And here's what I found. Now, if you're advanced, you can still watch the video. You may get some value from it, but this is more for beginners. This is a bit of a disclaimer. People who are still unsure about what journaling is and who may still have, English, right? It's hard. Who may still have a negative view of it, right? So, you will suck at first. Number one. Journaling is a skill, and like playing basketball or playing the drums, right? You will be very unorganized and, sloppy to begin with. And it's perfectly normal, And you may feel frustrated at this point. However, as long as you started writing something down, you're on the right track. And that moves me to my next point, actually. And that's what to write, which is number 2. When you journal, it's simply about placing your thoughts onto a paper to bring you better, to help you better examine them and store them externally. Think of the storage card you may have on your computer or your phone, or like a flash drive, right? You may free up space in your mind so you can do things more efficiently. You can operate more efficiently. All right. Now, anything is fair game. You can write anything down, as long as they're your thoughts. All right. You can journal about how you feel, and you can journal about the recent events in your life or things you may have learned. Right. Don't worry about trying, what if someone reads it? Don't write it with that lens. But that's a separate video I could get into. That kind of ties into number 3, actually, and that's what if I get mocked, right? It's a common thing with, diaries and stuff. People are going to be, of course, jerks sometimes, or, You won't feel comfortable with the little play comments people try to make and stuff. And you may be afraid, and that's understandable. I'm here to tell you, most people never know. I know you've heard this, but it's so critical to realize that most people never even notice or treat you differently after hearing it, right? In my 2 years of journaling, I've had only one person ask about me or about it, and I was honest. They thought it was cool. I told them that I just journal my ideas down, right? And whenever people say diary and stuff, just think of all the successful people. Think of all of the amazing millionaires that you know. I guarantee you they all have books. They all have journals. They all have stuff that they've written down their ideas in. Because, being so expensive, you have to have like $1 million ideas every once in a while, right? So they have to have a way to keep those stored. Now, I know that was a bit of a rant, but these people around you who, will make fun of you, they likely just go home and stay hunched over in their chairs or in their beds and, to watch TikTok after they've made fun of you or, your mental sanity, right? Mental health is one of those things that you really don't have a feel for. You can never imagine how much better it is until you've had it, right? And it's kind of like with sleep. You don't know how much better sleep you're going to get until you actually have experienced amazing quality sleep. What? So, you've experienced the relief. Yeah, like here's an example. You've experienced the relief you have after finishing an exam, right? Well, it's the same kind of thing, but with your mental state. And, whenever your regular state of mind rests, whenever your regular state of mind resets, I can promise you that I'm struggling here to find the words. Whenever your regular state of mind rests, I can promise you that there's a step higher, right? Now, like if your resting state is where you're kind of full of anxiety or kind of nervous about something, or you think that you're not nervous, you think that you're, completely okay and chill, there's a step above that, right? Now you may think, well, what if I've been living it? If I've been living with it, then it must be fine. And if that's the case, I urge you, I challenge you to try this out for even just a week. Just 1 week. 1 week out of your life and see what you think. See what you do with it. See how it benefits you. Write down what you think at least 5 minutes. Even just 3 minutes a day. Simply 3 minutes a day. How you feel. And see how you feel after that week. Right? And if this still isn't enough to convince you, right, and you're still afraid to journal because someone will find it and read it, or maybe you have no privacy at home, maybe your parents are very strict, use a scrap of paper that you can throw away, or the notepad on your phone, old receipt paper, anything you have to do, right? The back of your school schedule that's on the front of your binder, it doesn't matter, right? Usually I'd advise against this because it's important to keep these thoughts with you and be able to look back on them. But during these early stages, likely you won't be very organized anyway. And the whole focus here is to get your thoughts onto paper and have you feel comfortable. Now here it's also important to kind of realize what stress is. So if you followed the advice, you've taken your first step into becoming more, mindful and stress-free. Maybe you've gone and bought some notepads or, a hardback sketchbook, which is what I personally use. And a new pack of pencils. You've tried it and want to get the full benefits. All right. Firstly, I want to congratulate you here because most people will not make it this far. Next, I want to address what is anxiety or stress. Many people claim it's overthinking. However, I don't believe that's a thing, and let me explain that real quick. Because I believe that what people refer to as overthinking is actually just thinking inefficiently, right? And they ask themselves very open-minded, often quite negative questions that have really infinite answers. And rather than writing them down, to sort them out, they'll keep them all jumbled up in their mind and filling their head up. Kind of like filling the RAM up on your computer, the storage on your computer, the processing power of your computer, right? It's filling up the processing power of your brain. And if we're here, or if we were to use the computer metaphor from before, right? So, to avoid this, try asking more specific questions. Instead of why does the world hate me? Ask, why do I feel like everything is against me? What is stressing me out so badly right now? Why am I overthinking? What am I thinking about? And journal it down, because I found even just yesterday, I had the same thing happen to me, and I wrote it down. It only took 15 minutes, and I felt instantly better. I felt so much more clear-headed, and the rest of the day went perfect. Whereas if I just kept that in my mind, because this has happened to me before. Last 15 years of my life, 16 years of my life, I've been dealing with this, right? Like many of you probably have. I found that I felt so much better, and it was just a huge weight off my shoulders. The rest of the day was prime, whereas if I didn't, it would have been horrible. I would have been thinking about that neurotically, and I'm going off on a bit of a rant here, so I'm going to keep moving on. But the point of asking more specific questions, like, why do I feel this way about it, rather than, why does the world hate me? Why does she act like this? Blah, blah, blah. Say, what am I doing to make her act like this? Or things of that nature, because you can understand yourself, right? In fact, you're the only one that can. However, that's the extent of it. You can't mind read or, what other people think, much less what the world thinks. And there's so much I could get into here. I'm really excited to share all this with you guys, but I want to keep this short so that way you guys can actually not waste your time here. So number 5 is the prompts. What specifically should you do to, get started, right? You've made it this far, and I want to give you a treat. So I'm going to share with you some kind of styles of journaling that I use, and different little questions that I ask myself, along with some of the answers. So my gratitude journaling. Actually, hold on. I kind of list them off, right? So I was going to include this in the last section, but I did figure it needed another point. So I could do the timestamp of the description, and you guys could just jump straight to it. If you need to come back to the video, that's completely fine. And the types of journaling that I use, the different styles. There's a few different ones. I won't mention them all here, but gratitude journaling, there's problem solving, and emotional awareness, as well as learning / explaining kind of thing. Now, if you don't know what those are, that's perfectly okay. I'll give you some examples. With my gratitude journaling, I often use it when I'm in a really negative state of mind, like I mentioned earlier, or find myself obsessively thinking about something. Right? Maybe you got in a fight with your girlfriend, or maybe you're feeling quite insecure about the relationship, or you feel like someone's mad at you, right? Or you feel shameful about something. Shame and doubt is a very big one, right? That's the worst emotion anyone can feel. Now, gratitude journaling is simply making a statement about something you're grateful for, and then elaborating on it. And though for most of you it could just be enough just stating what you're grateful for. But examples of this would be I'm really grateful for this fan, right? This little box fan over here. I'm really grateful for it because, without it, I would be having a heat stroke. My parents keep the air conditioner off a lot because, power saving and etc. But I'm also grateful for C418's music. If you don't know, that's the creator of Minecraft's music, right? At least the alpha and beta. That's all. Okay. It allows me to be more creative and when I write, because I'm working on a project for my girlfriend right now. I'm also grateful to David Wise, which is a composer of Sticker Brush Symphony. Now, that's a little too specific for you guys, maybe, but I listen to that in the gym, and that's the soundtrack to Donkey Kong Country, right? I'm also grateful for winter because, bugs aren't as prevalent. There's just a lot of different stuff you could come up with, and it instantly switches that track of mind, and you feel a hell of a lot better. Try it out right now, even, like, anything. Like, say, I'm grateful for my phone. Even look at the negative things in your life and say, you know what, I'm grateful for this because it's kind of taught me that I don't like this, or it's shown me that I act a certain way, and I don't appreciate that, so I can now learn from it, right? There are a lot of different ways you can go with this, but let's move on to problem solving and emotional awareness, right? And I tend not to use this one as much anymore, but when you're obsessively thinking about something that's upsetting you or you feel stuck, it's a really good tool to make you more productive than just sitting around and leaving yourself feeling like shit. I typically start off with emotional awareness, but more into problem solving. That's, lean more into problem solving. That's just personal preference. The key here is just to get started immediately. So, examples. Why do I feel stressed? And my answer to this would be, well, I've been overthinking about the future and how to support my girl, my girlfriend, and then my future family. And then, what am I thinking about? How I intend on working a job, going to school, crushing an online business, keeping up my goals and personal values, and providing for my family. How do I do all that, right? And, you don't even have to go into answering all that. You can and it will help. The deeper you go into this, the more it will help, trust me. But what am I doing to work towards this? Well, I'm breaking my goals down step by step and establishing a daily routine that I can stick to. And this just allows me to make better progress towards all my goals. Right? And then the next question, you'd be like, well, what does that look like? Well, I'm dedicating the first part of my day to self-improvement, and just myself, and working the last bit of the day at my job, or with my girlfriend, or spending time with people, right? Wake up, read, eat, meditate, journal, work on scripts or projects or whatever I got going on, post to YouTube, Reddit, for my community, go on a walk, journal, then record additional videos or shorts. Then I have my lunch, go to the gym. While I'm at the gym in between sets, I'll post or upload a video, maybe go do some schoolwork, and then I'll take a shit, I'll go to work, and, store after work if needed, dinner, write my book, brush my teeth, and go back to sleep. I know that was a bit long-winded, but that's just an example. You could make, like, your whole daily plan, like your default daily plan, so you always know what you want to go for next. Now, the last method that I use, which I often accidentally leads me to writing, like, these scripts or coming up with video ideas, and it's learning/explaining. Through this practice, I write down some random quote or thought that I might have, that's relevant to my life or a problem I'm going through, and I'll work it out. After I've worked it out, or sometimes while I'm working it out, I'll look back and realize with some minor revisions, I've just created a script that can help people, like a post or a script that can help other people going through my same situation. And it's like, holy shit, Wow, you know? An example of this was literally just yesterday. I, thought back to time, and I thought back to the time I picked up a controller for the first time in little over a year. This was about a year ago itself, but I remember how disgusted I was playing Minecraft after having, not played Minecraft for so long. I had the thought, why play Minecraft when I'm already building a future better, like a stack of Legos? And I started making a script of how I learned to enjoy my real life over games. And it's going to be a really exciting video. I'm really ready to share that with you guys. Another example would be after I learned about the ripen model that I posted a day or two ago on the channel and on Reddit, if you want to go check that out, r/holistic improvement. I read the book and I journaled about how I could apply it and tried to explain it, and I ended up writing a rough draft for a video that I'll be uploading, or that I already uploaded. Now, for you, this process may look different. It will look different. But I always find that journaling and trying to act as if I was explaining these concepts to someone else, helps me in my specific section or situation. Leadership and guidance, right? The whole reason I'm so interested in leadership and guidance is because it's so heavy on, communication. And that's something I'm trying to get better at, because I have a lot of stuff I want to share with you guys that I've seen over my self-improvement journey that I just don't have the words to be able to describe, or I feel like words are failing me when I try to describe them. So I'm trying to study that so I can get better at making these videos shorter and providing more value to you guys. And overall, just doing better, right? Becoming a better communicator, right? There really is no set in stone prompt for this style of journaling. If you're struggling to get started, start with the very, very basic question of, what have I learned? Or like, what do I know? And often work from there, right? If you're struggling to come up with new things, let me know in the comments. I'll make another video or post, full of just potential examples and, personal examples even, and how you can answer them, right? I'll watch for the next time I feel stressed or overwhelmed, which is pretty often, but I'll work through it quite well so it's not overwhelming. And I want to teach you how to do that. And I'll do my best to record the video about the experience and how I go journaling my situation. Give it a try and stay on task.